Welcome to Storiology, the podcast. I am hosting today. My name is Michelle, and this is McKenzie Sawyer, and she is my guest today, and also the reason why this podcast ever started. And today, the first story I would like to tell is a story of how we became friends.
Ooh!
Because it is not just a story, but a story about stories bringing people together.
This is true.
So, go ahead. I had just moved to Los Angeles.
So, I didn't even know you.
You didn't.
But there was a movie marathon. They were showing...
At the Aero Theater.
They were showing the Lord of the Rings extended editions back to back, and then they were ending with the first Hobbit, which had come out. And I wanted to go, but I didn't want to go alone. But I had a hard time convincing any of the people I knew to come and spend like 24 plus hours watching Lord of the Rings. And someone that I knew said, hey, my wife likes Lord of the Rings. I'd bet she'd go with you. And I was like, sure, why not? And yeah, like we didn't meet until at the theater.
We met at the theater.
Like, I really hope we get along because this is going to be like
24 hours.
A long time with someone if we don't click.
So like I got this invitation from my side and I was like, well, I don't know her. But she's got to be cool if she invited me to a Lord of the Rings marathon. So I show up, and she's like, oh, I'm wearing, like, a yellow sweater or whatever it was that day. And I was like, there she is. So I go up. I'm like, hi, I'm Misha. And we just, like, watched Lord of the Rings in silence, and then we chatted during the breaks and got food, and... our friendship has now lasted longer than my entire relationship with my ex-husband. So,
which is how we met.
Which is how we,
the connector.
The best thing that came out of that relationship right there. So
yeah, it was fun. It was long. I'd never done a movie marathon like that before. Like, I'd seen the movies at some point, but I'd never watched them all together, and not extended editions. And I like the movies, but I'm also not huge into the lore of Lord of the Rings. Like, you know a lot more about the world, more so than me.
Pretty deep in the dork forest,
the dork forest. I'd read the books, I had watched the movies. Actually, watched the movies and then read the books so that they made sense to me. But yeah, we'd watch the movies for 3 hours, and then we'd eat, and then we'd go watch movies for 3 hours, and then we'd go have the next meal.
More snacks.
It was great.
It was awesome. It's still one of the funnest things that I have ever done. And it was such a bonding experience too, because we would talk about it, and then after the new movie came out, I remember us having some debates over The Hobbit, and it was so fun. And we of course love the extended editions, and yeah.
It adds. I know you get to a certain length and you're going to lose audiences. Unless they're hardcore fans. But the extended edition, I don't know. I think what they took out is sad that they just couldn't do it all because it was all fun stuff.
And it deserved to be in there. So thank you, Peter Jackson, for making the extended editions. I would love to interview you someday.
That'd be amazing.
Oh
my gosh.
Any cast member from Lord of the Rings I would probably couldn't even do the interview. I'd be like, hi, anything you want to talk about, you can talk about. I had questions. I wrote them down. Just shaking with my papers. So stories bring people together, especially Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. Lord of the Rings in particular.
Good stories.
Great stories. And other than that, what stories have you consumed recently?
I actually was just in a job interview and they asked me, what's the last book you read? And I was kind of embarrassed because I read a lot of fiction. I like to listen to audiobooks and have it be nonfiction. I love a good, bio or, any sort of, nonfiction, an audiobook. But when I read it, I like fiction. And it's almost always just absolute junk. Like trashy romance novels, fairies and werewolves, and time travel and ridiculousness.
Excellent.
So I just finished a book by one of my favorite authors, Elise Kova. Mm-hmm. You'd think I know her name because she's my favorite author, but I don't. She does the Air Awakens series, but she has some one-offs, and I just finished one, and it was delightful.
It was delightful.
It's like candy. It's not good for you, but goodness, it's fun to consume.
like sometimes you need a little candy book once in a while. A little bit of sweet.
I never read anything else.
Sometimes you need it all the time. It's fine. So the last story that I consumed was a couple days ago. I watched the live action Asterix and Obelix. And French. It's based on a French cartoon. They did a live action version of it. My boyfriend happens to be half French, so I've watched all the cartoons with him because there's only like 5. So it's not a lot. It's not too much. And then we watched the live action, and I'm gonna have a major spoiler alert. We watched it, and there's one scene where a Roman centurion called Antivirus, which written out is spelled antivirus.
Love it.
So this Roman, he's like fighting his way across this field, like slaughtering enemies, and with his sword and his little like centurion outfit, right? His little legionnaire outfit. And I was like, man, that stuntman is having fun. Wow, that's a really high kick. And Roger's like, that guy looks so familiar. Oh my gosh, it's Abramovich. And I'm like, who? He's like, Zlatan Abramovich. And I'm like, Zlatan? No. And I look, and then we look it up. It's absolutely him. Zlatan Abramovich, the football star, or soccer star, who played for Arsenal and a whole bunch of other, like, European soccer star, right? So, like, up there with Messi and, very,
real deal
guy, Zlatan. Yeah, he plays Antivirus, the right-hand man of Julius Caesar, as Julius Caesar is trying to conquer China, in Obelisk and Asterix.
With the high kicks.
And I was like, that explains it right there. But we had a good time watching it, and it was incredibly dumb and incredibly funny. And there is a plot twist that I think that you would love, so I'm not going to talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. Was the live action, what country made the live action? France?
France. Mm-hmm. Okay. So a lot of really big-name French actors, Like, I was kind of shocked when I saw some of them, because there's a lot of them that are famous here in the U.S., too. Mm-hmm. So it was really cool. Recommend it to everybody. Right. It's safe to watch with kids. Just know that it's pretty dumb, like, but it's the vibe, like, that's what makes it funny, right? And enjoyable.
French humor is unexpected, isn't it? Like, yeah, like you think the French, they're so sophisticated and art, and then they the stuff that they find really funny is just really slapsticky and ridiculous.
Well, there's like,
you look like, what was it? Who was the American that was like really big over there? Martin. And he did like Cinderfella. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he's like very silly and exaggerated. And anyway, and it's just like he was so big in France.
Didn't know that.
It's like they just love silly things.
Well, and one of the things that I really like about French humor is they tend to lean really into the unexpected humor. Like, I tend to like very slapsticky stuff, but the element of surprise is often an element in humor, and I can't remember who talked about that. I'll find the quote. I'll put it on this YouTube video somewhere, or whatever type of video this is, wherever I post it.
Show notes.
We'll put it in the show notes. And then, but yes, there's like 3 types of humor, basically. There's physical comedy, there is unexpected comedy, and then there is miscommunication comedy. And dark humor falls in the unexpected humor category. And miscommunication and wordplay, like, that's one of my favorite ones as well. Like I love it when, like, that scene from Winnie the Pooh where Rabbit and Pooh Bear are stuck in a pit, and Rabbit's like, "Can you not tie a knot?" He's like, "I cannot. We need at least 6 feet of rope," and Piglet's cutting 6 feet of rope. Like, it's just, that one kind of falls in both, which I found very funny at the time, so.
That's good stuff.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
So that was my most recent movie. What was your most recent movie?
Movies.
Or TV?
I saw a play last night.
You did?
I feel like it's not on a screen, but it's like the same style of story.
It's play. Storytelling. It counts.
It was Ragtime. It's a musical.
Yes.
I'd never seen it before. The music was very good. I struggled. The story was interesting. There's a lot of symbolism, and like this person represents this group of people, and there's some like historical figures thrown in. It was very artsy, and anyway, at the new Ruth in Pleasant Grove, which is a beautiful theater. This is their first production that they put on since they opened.
Oh my gosh!
And it was a great time. Really well done. Great actors and just really fun. Interesting story.
And that was Pleasant Grove, Utah.
Yeah, Utah.
For our listeners.
Which is like small town in a small state. So it's it's a random city.
It's random, but it's fun.
But it's it's like a $20 million theater.
Oh, I'll have to go check it out.
It's gorgeous. Some really cool stuff. So
maybe I could interview them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the Hale theaters. So there's the Ruth, which is the newest. There's the Hale in Orem, another small city in Utah. And then the Hale and Sandy, where it's close to me. And they're all owned by different family members, and they don't work together. They're all separate things. So you could interview all three of them, and it would be very different.
Well, and all of those stages are very different, because I have been to the Music Box Theater, which my friend performed at. I should ask her. She wants to be on the show. She is an aerialist, my friend. And she...
That sandy one? The big sandy one?
Mm-hmm. And she was one of the people hanging from the ceiling, like doing acrobatic dancing for a whole bunch of shows. She is hired on there pretty regularly, actually. So
that theater is ridiculous.
It is cool.
Like theater in the round, and then the stage goes up and down.
Yeah, the stage is in the center, and then the audience is all around like a stadium. And the actors go on the middle of the stage, and the middle stage, like, slowly rotates pretty much the whole time.
A lot of, like, different circles. So, like, there's, like, different circles that can rotate at different directions
and
speeds.
Be different heights, too, which is...
really cool.
Really cool. And then
it's really tall, so they, like, pull pieces up and down from the ceiling. I saw a big river there, and they, like, created a pool. Like, they flooded under the stage. So they'd lift off the stage when they needed the river, and it would be like a big pool, and they'd like paddle.
Like actual water?
Like actual water.
Like actual liquid H2O
like a
water.
pool in the theater, and they'd like they'd get on the raft and they'd paddle and like move it through.
That's cool.
And then when they needed ground, they'd drop the floor in, and it would cover the water, and then they could do the scene.
I haven't seen one with water like that. That is cool.
Amazing.
That is awesome.
Ridiculous.
I was, like, blown away because I saw Wizard of Oz. They had the Wicked Witch flying in a circle all around, like, this tornado of, like there were ribbons, like, kind of doing a tornado effect or something like that. But then there was actual stuff and, like, cows and, like, houses and stuff, like, spinning around. These objects hanging from strings, like, spinning around, like, going up into the ceiling. It was really cool. I was actually one of the first people to... enter it because it was I was working for a sister company of it at the time, and so I actually got to go in and see it, like, inside of it, and like went to a little lunch in there. It was a really cool experience. At the time I was working with Real Salt Lake, and I was supposed to drop off some sponsorship materials, and they gave me a tour and stuff like that. It was really cool. It was such a cool experience.
It's fancy theater.
It was a fancy theater. I loved it.
It's there's a lot you can do in, like, the black box type thing. Like, a lot that actors can do, that lighting can do. But when you have a stage that's almost like its own character, that's, like, so flexible and, like, I don't know, just, like, the physicality changes it.
It does. It really does.
It's, like, mutable set piece. I don't know. It's great.
It gives a totally different experience to the theater feeling. And I was really impressed with, like, how they executed it, because it can be so hard to do good set work already. Like, I'm always impressed by set makers, and prop makers, and then to build something that can support a bunch of actors and furniture and set pieces in the air.
Fly them in and out and get the timing and...
Yeah, it's a pretty cool experience. I really like the music box theater. It's really fun.
Yeah. This new theater has a little bit of that. There was like a big trap door that they'd bring stuff in and out of. There was a lot of like some like set piece, like there was like a chandelier that would drop down when they were in the house to kind of like create this sense of like we're now in this location. Or there was a few like there was a character who sits on a swing, and she's like a dance girl that swings, and they'd like drop her down and she'd have like her number and she'd sit on the swing, and it was very fun.
That sounds so cute.
It was really cute. It was
sounds
good.
Like a really cute show.
Would recommend. It's not a typical. It's not like a well-known musical. It's a good one.
It sounds pretty. What was the Ragtime?
Ragtime.
Ragtime is the name of the musical. Mm-hmm. And that is currently playing still?
Currently playing through February.
Yeah. Excellent. Mm-hmm. So, McKenzie, what do you feel makes a good story?
That's interesting. So when you asked that, immediately I was like, my first thought was like how much I like the first book in a series. Mm-hmm. And not that like sequels are bad, but there's something that I find really appealing about learning about this new world and this new character. Even if it's modern day, you have this person or this thing or this like, there's a character that you're learning about and like what makes them tick and who they are and what's important to them. And there's a journey that they're going to go on of some kind. And the learning about this new thing I have always found really interesting. So like the first book of the series is always so fascinating because it's like, oh, what is this thing that we've imagined that's going to happen? Or like, who is this person and why are they so interesting and like what's going on with them? And so like for me, a good story is that's what a character is being revealed to you, a world is being revealed to you, and that, like, learning about this new thing I find really interesting.
That is really fun. So you like it. Do you also like it when there are delayed character reveals? Like backstory reveals?
Yes. Because it makes it feel less of, like, an episodic TV show. Because I feel like some books, they like kind of get a little formulaic. Love Harry Potter, and they were wonderful books, but in some degree, like, it's a bunch of kids at a magical school and stuff happens. Like, that's kind of what it is. Mm-hmm. And J.K. Rowling does a really good job of like making each year feel unique, which is great. But some books aren't great at that. Like
that is
it's like,
true.
and then I think I have that problem with like crime and mystery books. Like after the first one, it's like, all right, I read like 5 Mary Higgins Clark's books, and by the 6th one, I was like, that person's the bad guy. I flipped to the back. Yep. Like, all right, I see what we're doing here.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, but yeah, a late character reveal is nice. Backstory reveal keeps you engaged. But even I like one-offs for that reason. Or if you're gonna do multiple books, like change the location, like really switch it up and like make it really distinct and different.
Ooh, very excellent. So world building is kind of important to you too, then, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'd read a lot of like fantasy stuff. Or like I read one book recently, and the idea is, what if George Washington didn't say no to being king? What if George Washington said, okay, I'll be king, and now America has had a monarchy? And like a lot of stuff is the same, but then like you now have this monarchy system as a form of government, and it's looking into the lives of these American royals and like what their life is like. And anyway, and so it's like this little twist, and it's like, what is that world like? And I'm in the 3rd book, and I'm struggling to really get into it because, again, like, it's like we're still in the same world, and they're still kind of in the similar drama. Like, I need more of a change than it's offering.
Interesting.
But I have been enjoying it.
That's good. What is the name of the series and the author?
American Royals.
American Royals by
someone whose name I don't know off the top of my head. But they're very good.
You do read more than I do. So.
I read fast and then I don't remember.
I understand.
If I'm lucky, I remember the title.
I have to, like, keep a list of everything I read so that when I'm like, what is that book that I read by that person about that thing?
Kindle will track it if you complete the book. If you don't complete it, I can't find a list anywhere of what I read. And so, do better, Amazon. Kindle team. You're doing great. And I know Amazon is a terrible place to work at.
For absolutely no related reason whatsoever.
But it would be really nice to have a better way of tracking books. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I have to go and make sure whenever I read on my Kindle, I mark it as read. Because if you don't go to the very last page, it won't say read. So you have to mark it as read. Otherwise, it won't show up on the list. And then I can't find it again.
So I am actually a big Obsidian user, Obsidian MD. And it is a note-taking software with a bunch of ability to cross-reference, right? And I use it in a way that's probably not meant to be used. But there are plugins. There is a plugin for Kindle. And anything you read in Kindle, even if you read it from the local library or whatever.
Oh.
And you can import just your highlights into your Obsidian account. And, and then you can go in and tag them. So it's really great for if you're writing a research paper or something and you need to, like, have tags. And then there's a view where it has, like, all of these little dots. And it's like, this tag is tagged in these 7 locations. This tag is tagged in these 7 locations.
Interesting.
It is really cool.
Okay. Obsidian.
Yep. And even if the library books that come in, and you don't have to finish the book, if you do one single highlight, it will transfer that highlight over.
Okay.
So.
Highlights are probably more helpful with nonfiction, I would imagine.
They can be. So if you're writing a research paper, they're really handy. So, like, statistics, you could do a highlight that's like statistics about, or a tag that's like statistics about XYZ. And then I can go in and tag, like, stories about faith overcoming fear, right? And you can put that tag in, and it can pull up quotes from 7 different books if you, like, click on that one. So it's really cool, especially if you have to, like, write about a topic or give a presentation about a topic. You have all of these quotes and resources that are, like, tied, and
you can just be like, this tag, and it's like,
yeah, like, hypothetically, I could be asked to give a short speech on something and be like, Obsidian, we are going to talk about overcoming difficult situations. Bam. And it would, like, pull up all of my tags, all of my quotes from everything I've read that has a quote about that. Okay. And, or, like, a tag about self-confidence, or a tag about marketing, right? Doesn't matter what you use it for. But I really liked Obsidian, and the Kindle plugin has been really nice for me because, like, I used it to help my friend write a speech for a wedding. She was like, I should do one about love, but I don't know. I was like, how about you do one about trust instead, because I have more tags for that.
Like, I have some quotes about that one.
I have some quotes about the importance of trust, and, you know, like, and she, like, she was able to write a short speech using, like, 3 or 4 of the quotes I did, and it worked out. And then last minute, she had to, like, change her speech as well.
Oh, so wow.
It worked out. It could have been way worse.
Okay.
Because she found out the best man who was giving a speech was also talking about used some of the same quotes that she was going to use. Really? Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, girl, is he single? Because you should hit him up. I know you've been looking. Like, it was funny.
That's interesting.
And speaking of your previous work, so storytelling, I know, is something that is used a lot in what you do. And McKenzie is a UX, UI, graphic designer. I messed that up somewhere.
Graphic design. I dabble in graphic design, but there are professionals out there. So let's say I'm a hobbyist at best with graphic design. But I am a user experience designer or product design.
Which is so cool. McKenzie one time told me a story where she was like, hey, you should have this product's power button do this thing. And then they decided to not do that thing and ended up having to loop back around and do the thing that she originally proposed. And it was satisfying.
It feels good when it's like, I was right.
Yep.
Let's fix it and do it the right way now.
Especially a big important product, which we will not talk about, just in case. Just in case.
For NDA reasons.
Maybe NDA. I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? Just in case. But yes, she's very good at her job. And I know you have been looking for...
Currently looking for the next position. It's really interesting. A lot of job descriptions for product design and UX talk about storytelling as a skill they're looking for.
Oh, yes, which is
really
me more.
Interesting of like, how do you do storytelling with a product? And usually what it means in product design.
Sleeve is bothering me.
Is it in your face?
It is in my face.
Get out of there, sleeve. Yeah, so with product design, the storytelling is less in the product itself, but more being able to imagine, like, what is it like for the person using it? Like, what are they doing before they use your product? What's it like when they use their product? And then what happens right after? Because sometimes that can have an impact. Or, like, even further down the road, if there's like, you buy something, like, that delivery experience is just as much a part of that journey as when you bought it. So...
Makes sense.
Yeah, so being able to, like, communicate that story to your coworkers, stakeholders, and, like, use it in a convincing way to be like, we should do it this way because, like, this is going to have a negative impact in this, like, journey, in this story we're trying to, like, have happen. You're trying to take a story and make it real with your product, so...
And I can see how you would be excellent at that because you are such an empathetic person and you always, like, think about what... You're thoughtful, terribly thoughtful. Like, you know what you need is this.
It's definitely a big part is, like, you are not the user of, like... being able to imagine someone else's experience and being like, I don't care about this, but someone else cares a lot about this, and they're the ones with the money buying our thing, and so we need to care what they think and why they think and how they think, and being able to inject that into your decisions.
Well, and there are some storytellers that are super good at that. One of my favorite little tidbits of any story ever is in Lady and the Tramp. She calls her humans Jim, Dear, and Darling.
And I just watched that movie.
Did you really?
I did. Well, we didn't get all the way through it, but I tried to get the baby to watch it, and he was mildly interested.
Mildly interested. It's hard when you're a baby.
It's hard.
But that being able to put, the author being able to put their mind in the mind of a dog and think, this dog probably thinks their names are Jim, Dear, and Darling.
Because that's what they call each other.
That's what they call each other.
She can't read.
She can't.
She's a dog.
She has very little experience outside of her little house and her little yard. So, and I feel like so many storytellers do that really well. I can probably think of like 4 or 5 others who do that as well, but...
Where you get like really interesting... I think that happens too when you have dialogue with different characters that maybe have different accents, or like you think about like word choice and what like the words one character would use versus the words another character would use. Yeah.
Or even not words at all, but just actions. Like somebody who is pretty silent all the time and people are like making a fuss about something and he's mad about it. He's going to just stand up, slam down his drink, look around, glare at everybody, and walk out. And everybody's going to be like, oh no! We pissed off the silent guy.
Don't mess with the quiet people.
Don't mess with the quiet people. They will F you up.
With their mind.
With their mind and their silence. And probably their fists in most cases in literature.
Yeah, depending on the character, yeah. So they could be people of action.
People of action.
Not of words.
Not of words. But, well, we have talked for 30 minutes.
Good for us.
Good for us. High five.
Look at those quiet people talking.
Yes. Right?
Yep.
Well, thank you for being my guest today, McKenzie.
It was a pleasure.
Our goal was to talk for 30 minutes, which we did. And stay tuned for future episodes. My next episode is going to be with my friend from high school, who is a traveling nail stylist.
Really?
Yes.
That sounds like fun.
It is. And...
okay. I want to hear about that one. Okay, so she is just like it's like an on-call doctor, but an on-call nail stylist.
Yep.
For like weddings and stuff.
So she does manis and pedis.
Mm-hmm.
She travels to your location, And she has done a celebrity, and I'm hoping she'll tell us the story about how she met this celebrity, like, backstage, giving a manicure.
Celebrity feet.
Celebrity.
That'll get you big money on
nails and feet.
For fans only.
And she has, like, a cool setup, too. It's not just, like, a little, like, caboodle in a chair. It's big...
It's professional.
Yeah, super professional. I wanted to have her do a pedicure for my sister, because my sister was really sick and couldn't really leave her house.
Mm-hmm.
It was so bad. But, of course, like, 3 days after I call her, my sister's like, oh, I already went and got a pedicure. I was like, I'm feeling better. I'm like, what? Fine. So, but yes, she's one of the best storytellers I know, for one. And number two, she is really funny. Like,
nails and hair. People that do nails and hair are...
And they have all the tea.
They have all the tea, and they're so good at sharing it and making little things sound so exciting.
It's true. Is Cameron going to come on eventually?
Yeah, I think we can talk him into it.
Okay, excellent. So
he can talk about all his directorial stuff.
Yeah, her husband is a director, and yes. I'd say we're friends.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure.
I feel like I've known you guys long enough together as a couple as well as individually.
Yes,
yeah.
You're friends, definitely.
He's a lot of fun. Cameron's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Raj likes him, my boyfriend.
We need to do more double dates.
We do. And Raj really likes sushi too, so...
Raw fish is
you can
delicious.
Have sushi again.
I know. I've been able to have sushi for almost 2 years.
I know. Your baby's so big now. But like the last time we were going to go out, you couldn't have sushi.
I couldn't have sushi. No.
Such a bummer. But
now we can sushi's on the table again.
Thank you again for joining us for today's episode of Storiology, the podcast, where we talk about stories and storytelling. And thank you again, McKenzie Sawyer. Pleasure.
Pleasure as always.
And have a good one. Tell us about your stories. Love you. Bye.